But welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking time to be here this evening. This is the second screening of the Intergenerational Digital Storytelling Program. I'm really excited that you all are here and that this is the second time that we're doing it. We're so lucky to have this partnership with Steps to Success and now also with the Brookline Senior Center. And I'm really excited to announce that I just heard yesterday that we got a grant from the Brookline Community Foundation to help further this program. So we'll be able to continue this program, hopefully bring some more young people into it and tell more stories of the older people in our community that are so important to hear. So really thank you all for being part of this program. It's been really wonderful. I've been doing media and storytelling for almost my whole life, since college at least. And I think, hearing other people's stories and learning about the truth of, real stories from real people is what really impacts our lives and makes us rethink things and feel empathy and feel love and appreciation for others and things that they have gone through in their life. So this is it's for me to be able to pass this on to young people it's super important to me. So I'm so glad that you're all part of this. So thank you so much. And I want, of course, I would like to hear from anyone from Steps to Success, if you'd like to say a few words.
I can do that. So I'm Lynn Courtney, and I am so thrilled that we were able to do this for the second time. I'm excited because what I do is try to connect young people to the world of like how they can be successful in the workplace. And so the skills they're learning now, not just technical skills, how to work with different software programs and things like that, but also the interpersonal skills. How do you interview someone? How do you ask good questions to get good answers? Those are things that you all are going to use in every place that you in the future. So I feel like this collaboration, you've created a beautiful project and beautiful stories, and I'm really excited about that. But I'm additionally excited about the skills that you're gaining and what you'll do with them in the future. And I know that Janelle cannot be here tonight, but she specifically asked me to tell you that she was super excited about your projects and told me to tell you that she's impressed with how far you've come from the beginning. Like she's really enjoyed watching you guys grow. So that's all from me.
Great. Thank you. Deirdre, did you want to say, I didn't really give you a warning, but if you wanted to say anything on behalf of the Senior Center?
I think just that the Senior Center has been very pleased to be part of this. It's important to us too, that people document their stories, and seniors don't always get a chance to do that. So we're happy to continue partnering with you on this.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I think tonight we're going to see 4 stories created through this partnership, and the themes are immigration and COVID. And, I think they're really, both of them are very important topics, and it's really cool that we're going to see 2 stories of each, and you see the similarities and the differences. And again, the more stories we see, the more we realize that we're all struggling with the same things in life, and that we all need to respect and love each other and where we're at in life. And so I really thank the 4 young filmmakers for taking these projects on and working really hard and giving it their all. They have, as Janelle said through Lynn right now, they've come a long way. They've learned a lot. These projects were significantly harder for them than the first project, which was with their own grandparents. And they had to develop a relationship with a brand new person who's a total stranger to them, try to understand their story, and then try to tell it in a way that felt, true and also very respectful towards the story. And as you'll see, there was a lot of, these projects are, 5, 6, 7 minutes long, and they had to come up with photos that they found largely on the internet. And, some people had more photos to contribute to the project and some less. So that was not an easy feat. So, I think that they did an excellent job trying to visually help tell this audio story of each person. So you guys have did a fantastic job. I'm super proud of you. And I think, we should get started and see these videos, which is why we're all here. So the format is going to be that we'll hear from the young filmmaker. And then if the person who's the subject of the story wants to say a few words, please, I'll call on you. And if you don't want to, that's totally fine. And then we'll watch the story, and then we'll have a short period for a little Q&A. So if anybody has any questions for either person, the filmmaker or the subject of the story, and if you don't, that's fine as well. So just so you know, and then we'll go through that, all 4 different stories. All right, so first up is Naomi and Sherry. So Naomi, do you want to say a few words?
Hi everyone, I'm Naomi. I am in 9th grade and I go to Brookline High School. I had the opportunity to interview Sherry about her COVID life and how life was in quarantine. Something technical I learned was to give proper feedback to other people that are working on a story. And something I've learned from Sherry was how she has such a positive mindset, and it just made me have more encouragement to complete this project for her.
Sherry, I don't know if you're able to or want to, but if you want to say anything about anything that you took away from the process or anything, you're welcome to speak.
I enjoyed working with Naomi. It was very interesting. I sent part of it to my daughter in California, and she thought it was a wonderful job. That was done. And I appreciate Naomi doing all that hard work.
Great. Thank you, Sherry. All right, let's go ahead and watch the video.
Oh, what was, okay. I was a volunteer at the Brookline Senior Center, serving lunch to the people. Well, that's what I was doing. I volunteered at the center every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do a lot of volunteer work. At first night, well, I was a little bit, well, I wasn't that worried in the beginning because it didn't seem to impact us so much, Massachusetts. But then as it got worse and worse, and the senior center closed because the Department of Public Health said, all things have to be closed and whatnot. Let me think. Because the last day I volunteered at the center, the next day got an email saying that they were closed. And now with this COVID going on more and more, I haven't ridden the buses since March.
Wow.
Most of the time, I just walk to CVS, and occasionally my granddaughters, if I need something, or my daughter, I let them know, and they will either go buy it or order it online for me. It's been kind of hard because I was so used to seeing and helping people at the center that when this stopped, it was like, oh, it'll end soon. And then it kept going on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the center, I worked at the gift card. And used to having a lot of people coming by and buying candy or whatever our gift card had. And the money that we earned there was for any of the programs at the senior center. I usually would do garden work. Well, I was raking leaves for the longest time until the snow came and stopped that. And so now it's, when we have the snow, because I'm on the side where the children go to school, at Baker School, I have to try and keep the sidewalk pretty cleared.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go down to where they have the salt and sand bins down the street and fill a bag up and carry it home and put it on the sidewalk so it will melt some of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come in the house and try to go through papers and all those things that seem to pile up. Well, I learn how to wear face masks all the time. I carry hand sanitizers, and try and, keep social distancing, call some of my friends that live close by, but they aren't able to get out, so we chat for a while.
That's nice.
And then I sometimes pick up the bulletins for the senior center for each month
Mm-hmm.
that tells what's going on. And, well, I did make a few face masks, and then my daughter sent me a couple from California. My granddaughter gave me a couple. So I should have enough, and for a while anyways.
Yeah.
I probably will still have to use them for a long time after, until this is all under control. Usually in December at this time, well, I'd be home. I'd be out in California visiting my daughter and son-in-law, and I have 2 grandchildren out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, it's no going anywhere. Just staying around in the home, doing things, shoveling,
Mm-hmm.
just to keep busy. And then I come in and I collapse. I'm so tired and I'm out of breath. I think because of so many people dying from this, you get to appreciate life more.
Yeah.
And hope that everything will be okay and we can all socialize again, but carefully,
Mm-hmm.
and not take life for granted.
That was wonderful. That was beautiful. I really loved the ending of that piece. It's just, I don't know how Naomi found that video. I mean, it seems super unrelated, but it was just so touching, and it really was just something beautiful to meditate on, while Sherry was saying something very sweet and profound at the same time. So I love that. Does anybody have any questions for Sherry or Naomi?
You do this just on the telephone or via Zoom, or how did that work?
So I called Sherry by phone, and then I recorded it from a computer.
It's amazing you're able to make that connection over the phone like that. So
Naomi emailed me a couple of times to see if I had pictures, and I had a few, and she did a wonderful job of putting that together. Yeah. Thanks, Naomi.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important to document these people's COVID stories, because, people in 10 years, 20 years they're not going to know what this moment in our history was like. And I think it's important to document that. And it's going to be something for Sherry's family to hold on to for a long time. So that's wonderful. Anything else? Any other questions?
It's Sherry again. I did get my 2 shots for the vaccine. So when the senior center opens, I'll be there at the door, knocking at the door, trying to get in.
That's great.
I miss everybody there. And all the great projects they have. A lot of people that I talk to say, oh, they're waiting for the center to open. I said, you and 100 other people. Thank you very much, Anne, for doing this project. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being a willing and able participant and so gracious and wonderful in the process with Naomi. All right. Well, we'll move on to the next story then. So next up is Niriali and Cal. And this is Cal's story, very personal story about her immigration from India to the United States. So I'll let Nerialie go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Nerialie. I'm a ninth grader in Brookline High. Something I appreciate was being able to work with Cal to tell the personal story of how she immigrated from India to the United States. And I appreciate being able to cut a 40-minute audio to 5 and learn how to add transitions to audio and make it run more smoothly.
Yeah, you learned a lot. That's 40 minutes to 5 minutes. For those of you who don't know editing, that's a lot. It's not easy to do that. And again, when you're telling someone's personal story, you have to make a lot of decisions about what to include and what not to include. So it's not easy. So thank you. Cal, did you want to say anything about the process or anything? No, I can ask her to unmute, but I can't force.
She won't hear you. Okay.
All right. Well, let's watch Cal's story, and then Cal, you can say a few words after, if you can get yourself unmuted. All right. So let's go ahead and watch the story.
Okay, I am an Indian woman, and I was born in India. And I finished college over there in Calcutta University. I mean, also in India, I lived with my in-laws. They're American too. So I lived with them 5 years. So I started to speak English. But before that, I never heard American English. We are used to British English. So, living with them, my husband, ex-husband, and he's an American. He's from Boston. So we married. I have a son. Son was born in India. And when he was a year old, we came to Boston. In Maine for 3 months and then in Boston. I didn't have much interest. I was happy with my music, but my husband, he's American, so he was there. He went to study Indian music. So he was there almost 8 years. And he wanted to come back. So I came with him, but I didn't have any knowledge about the America, lifestyle and all this stuff. But I learned very hard way when I came here. That's the only interest, So he came, I came. Oh, when I came, I was very sad, why I left my country and all this. It was very hard to adjust, the culture, because I don't go to the church, I don't go to the synagogue, and I am a Hindu, and food didn't have, the restaurant, Indian restaurant. I think one in Central Square, there was one restaurant and no grocery store. It was very hard, especially food, We eat a lot of spice and chilies and all this stuff, and it was hard. It was very hard for a couple of years, But, when you stay, you get used to. And I was homesick, so I used to go often to visit my mother and my parents, my siblings. Yeah, I was looking for a job. So I used to go to Top and Shop, and then I met one woman, and she told me that, Harvard Library is looking for person and you can get a part-time. So I just went there to find out, what kind of job and how many hours. Widener Library. He said, yeah, we are hiring part-time. If you want, you can get a job. I mean, at that time it was so easy. When I got a job part-time at Harvard, I wasn't citizen at that time. So Harvard had a program, I think, working permit to work in this country. I came in with the Indian passport. So they gave me working permit, so I work that way. And then I think it's 78, I became a citizen, so I had no problem. Yeah, and opportunity means, I started to learn driving and just working, surviving. Compared to when I came and now, immigrant, it's very different. It's very, very different. I mean, telling the truth, when I came, it was very, very easy getting a job, getting citizenship. So I had no problem. But nowadays, I see it is very, very hard, and a lot of competition, and you have to be on your best. No, change means I love my job and I get along. Our colleagues were great, I mean, we support each other. I never felt like I'm an Indian, So that time I was so busy, and I had a student teaching music, raising my son, and all this. And now, believe it or not, I changed so much. I I decided when I retired, I thought I know I'm going to move back, So I have a apartment in India, in Calcutta, my hometown. I tried for 5-6 years to stay longer, and it is long gap. I think I am living here 48 years. It's a long gap, and I don't have a friend anymore, no parents. So I think I prefer here. We adjust a lot of adjustment. I like here to stay. I fell in love here. Live in Brookline.
Hey. Beautiful story. Cal, you got yourself unmuted. You want to say anything?
No, it is nice to say it. I haven't told anybody. Nobody asked me.
That's important. Sometimes we just have to ask, right?
Yeah, exactly. And people think that, I'm in America, especially Indian people think, oh, I'm happy, I am, no problem and all this, but they have no idea how life is here. I mean, they don't understand. If I try to explain to them, I don't think so they're going to understand, So I keep quiet. I don't say anything, but it's very hard. It's very hard. When they say to me all this stuff, and I just looked at them and I just keep quiet. I cannot, even like I said, if I explain to them, they're not going to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, Nerialie did a great job, and you were very open with her. And that's a really important thing to do when you're, telling a story like this. You need to be open, and you were very open and vulnerable about, you didn't really want to come here, it sounded like, and it wasn't easy. And, but then, it was this beautiful story, because then in the end, you're like, things have changed, and I actually really made a life for myself here, and I want to stay. It was like a really beautiful story arc.
When I go home, I'm not belongs to there. I don't find a path. I don't find any communication with anybody. So here, I can talk to people. I can talk about politics, vaccine, and all this stuff. It's now I realizing that I'm a long time. I'm realizing that I have to. I am here and belongs to here now.
I'm sure Rosaline can relate. We're going to hear her story later on. Anybody have any questions for Nerialie or Cal?
Cal, are you retired? And if you are, when did you retire?
I retired 2006. After 32 years, I work over there. Oh,
Wow.
Congratulations.
actually, I worked in a business school over 20 years, Baker Library, and then Widener. I started with the Widener and then retired from business school, Baker Library. After 32 years, it was another story. Oh, because that's his second home. I just 32 years, get up and go and take care of everything. And when I retired, oh my God, that's another shock. That's the family. And I used to go, make some coffee in the kitchen, have some coffee, reading newspaper, then start to work. And every day is like that. Eating lunch together. I still have a lunch with my colleagues, we still keep in touch. But after retirement, it was very, very hard, very hard.
Rosaline, did you want to ask a question?
We have some things in common as well, being an immigrant, but you'll hear my story.
Great. Any other questions or comments?
I was just really happy to hear that, Cal. I know you, but I didn't know any of that. So it's a very nice thing to be part of that. And I feel like I know a little bit more about your life. So thank you for sharing. And Nerialie also.
Yeah, I don't like to, to talk too much, because also people not going to understand if I say that, But she did very good job. Very good job.
She did. Niriali, did you want to say anything else?
I'm just really happy to get the opportunity to work with you and tell you things.
So sweet.
Good.
I just had a question. Your story kind of resonates with me because my parents are immigrants and they also moved back to their country. And I mean, they've been there for 10 years, but they don't feel it's not what they thought was gonna be. But is your son still in Boston? Do you keep in touch with your son?
Yeah, my son lives in Connecticut, New Canaan, and I have two granddaughters. And my son's wife is Italian, and my son doesn't look like me at all. He looks like his father. When I go to the family, I'm outside at my, his wife is Italian, and two granddaughters, Emma and Beatrice. They look like a grandpa, So the youngest one is white hair, blue eyes, and have absolutely grandpa's skin in absolutely white. My late husband's family came from England, so they are very white. So yeah, he lives in Connecticut. His family. Yeah, it took COVID I didn't go, but every weekend I talk to Duo or Facebook video. And the youngest one, Beatrice's birthday is April 6th. I bought a flute, so I'm going to send it to. They're bored. They're bored for this COVID virus, So, and I couldn't go either, But yeah, they're doing good. Go to India again in this November.
Oh, nice, beautiful.
October. So I'm asking Emma, is she going to be in July 13? I said, come with me.
Did you get both your vaccine already?
But yeah, I have 2 vaccines already. Yeah.
Great. That's good. All right. Well, I think we'll move on to the next story. And so we just ended on a little COVID note there with the vaccine, and we're going to go back to another COVID story. So we're going to hear from Breanna. If anybody is here for Muriel, please speak up.
Muriel Stark, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's not on the video, but she's here listening.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's great.
Do you want to be on video? All right. So yeah, she's listening. So.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining. All right. So we're going to first hear from Breanna. Breanna, do you want to introduce yourself and your project?
Hi, my name is Breanna. I'm a 9th grader at Brookline High. And something I took from this experience was hearing different people's perspective on how they're feeling about COVID-19 compared to my own experiences with it. I also got to learn how to edit a lot better compared to before and learn how to take and give feedback. I also thank Muriel for letting me interview her to get a real experience on it. And I also feel like I grew a connection with her, and I don't really do that very often. So, yeah.
Does Muriel want to say anything?
Muriel wants to say that Breanna has been a pleasure. I haven't gotten to talk to her quite often, but it's been a pleasure talking with her, and I hope that we can always keep in touch. She's a pleasure. And Muriel does like children. She does love children, and she will always be there. I want Breanna to always call me. It doesn't matter what time it is. I'm always available. I am at home, but the thing that I have my situation right now, I can't get in and out, but I can speak, and I am always available. And I love you.
That's really sweet. Thank you.
That's nice. It's been so beautiful to see some of the relationships grow between people who were just strangers a couple of months ago. And I think the relationship between Muriel and Breanna definitely was something that was very special. So, and Muriel she's on the phone. And so they haven't never actually seen each other. I mean, Breanna did see a couple pictures of her. But this may be the first time she's seeing Breanna. I don't know if you even have the video turned on, but this might be the first time she's even seeing her. So, all right, well, let's watch their beautiful story.
I'm Mrs. Muriel Stark, 93 years old, living at Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. No, I have a son. I have a son, and my son has a son. So he has a divorce, so they share. He's with his mom, sometimes he's with his father. But my grandson, he's 21 years old. He goes to UMass in Amherst. But now they're online now doing their stuff. But my son lives with me, so he does my shopping and stuff like that. You know, anything that I need, he's the one that does it for me. So I'm not alone. But everything is so different. It's so different. But we're going to make the best of it. But I'm looking forward to the new year. But but I'm not really alone. I'm not really alone. So that's what Muriel is not alone. And I have all these pictures and magazines and all kinds of stuff that I think I'm doing. Oh man, getting rid of a lot of papers. But we call each other. We call. I have a lot of friends, and I'm losing some of my friends. But one of my friends, she's out in Texas. The other one is in Maryland. And you should hear us on the phone. We are hysterical. And then I have one girlfriend. I knew her when I was in Barbados. We grew up together, and she's in Ontario. I haven't gone. I looked out the door. The only going that I go open the door and get the mail. The mailman comes. He's so precious. And because we get out there, we were hugging and wishing each other. He said, we can't even hug each other anymore. And I said, I know. But anyway, we wave, put our mask on and we wave. Well, but you know something, Breanna? For some unknown reason, I don't even feel like I'm locked down. And the reason why I don't feel like I'm locked down, because of my age. I'm 92 years old, and I had fallen a year ago. I keep thinking a year or 2 years ago. I fell in the house, but I didn't break anything. I just whacked myself hard, but I didn't break anything, dislocated or something. Before the virus, I used to go to the center and do quilting and all kinds of programs that I did in there. But after I fell, it worked in my favor, because right when I had to be in, I couldn't go in it. I used to take the ride. In fact, I used to drive, and then I didn't drive. My husband passed. He had Alzheimer's. When my husband passed, then I went to the center, and I got involved with things. But after I fell, I was 90, and then I lost the sight in my eyes. So when the epidemic came along, I couldn't get out. So I don't feel like I'm locked down. I can't do the things I used to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Neighbors, I had neighbors, and we had a lot of programs in our neighborhood. We had a book club, and all those things I got out. So I have a lot of pictures, and I have magazines, and I still have my children and grandchildren, but we call each other. So I don't really feel like I'm locked in, you know? And when the winter came and it got cold, I wouldn't be going out in the cold. The only thing, one of my kids would walk me around the backyard. You know, I walk around. But with me not wanting to fall, I won't go out now. What I am going to take from it is people coming together because and how we do things. It's more like a new experience we have. We had a lot of gifts of how we can serve and help people. We can't meet you, we can't see you, but we can talk to you. You know, we can talk to you. We can cheer people up. We can't go up to your house and visit with you or meet you for lunch or something. But there are other ways. It's showing us that there's a lot of ways and a lot of gifts that we have that we can use, knowing how kind and generous people are. See, we've got a lot of talents. We never had a chance to use them. But now we know. So that's the lesson that we are going to be learning from this whole thing. How you help people, how you come together, and what you can give. Not always what you can receive, is what you can give.
Yeah.
And it's in my earlier experiences, it's in giving that you receive. You don't give to receive, but it does happen. You know, so there's a lot of lessons to be learned, a lot of lessons.
All right. Beautiful. It's amazing that we've had two such positive COVID stories. It's been amazing to see, you know, just the representation of resiliency and the positive mindset that exists in our community. Anybody have any questions or comments for anybody, for Breanna or for Muriel?
I'll say this. This is Andre Stark. I love the way you composed everything, Breanna. I'm a documentary film producer anyway, so I always love to see people, and especially younger people, create different types of work in different types of spaces. And it was a pleasure looking. I'm using that word again. It was great to see how you did and how you work with my mom. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm Breanna's mom, and I was so glad she got to do this story, and I was just so happy, and I don't know, I just felt like she was my grandma. Like, every time Breanna used to tell me she used to call her, I'm like, oh my God, Breanna, what did you say? And I always, like, you know, Breanna always holds back. I don't know where she gets it from, because I don't like to hold back, but she always hold back, and I'm like, Breanna asked her what's her address. I want to drop something nice off. I'm like, I know we can't see her. And she's like, Mom, it's COVID. You can't see her. I'm like, I know, but I just want to like drop it off at her door. Like she just felt, it was so heartwarming the way she used to talk to Breanna. And I loved it. Like, I just felt like it was my own grandma. So great job, Breanna. And I just want to say thank you to Muriel and her family for giving her a chance to put this together. And obviously to Anne and Step to Success.
Thank you. Thank you for letting her participate. She's such a pleasure, and she's just grown so much this year. It's amazing.
Go ahead, say something.
I would like to say something in regard to Deidre Waxman.
I'm here.
Deidre, you are a love. I never knew that all the things that you were saying that I was going to be hearing it. Andre surprised me. I didn't know I was going to be watching it.
Good. We were happy.
I have to tell Breanna, you are the one that got me into all of these things. And Breanna, I have to talk to her mom. I want to keep her. I want to take her home. But we will share. We will.
Oh, I would gladly share Breanna with you.
I won't take her away. I promise I won't take her, but I hope somewhere along the line we can meet.
Yes, that would be super awesome. And I always encourage Breanna. I was like, I'm like, why don't you check in with Muriel? Make sure you call at least once a week.
That's all right. So, we're gonna meet somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere, and don't forget the dad now. We gotta include the dad too.
Yeah.
You just tell her, and I want you to know that I love you. And you become a member of our family.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Well, if that doesn't exemplify the power of storytelling, I don't know what does. That was beautiful. And yes, and I think I forgot to really properly thank Deirdre in terms of her connecting us with these 4 wonderful women that have been part of this project. So thank you so much, Deirdre.
Happy to do it.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, we'll move on to the final video of the night, which is Morgan and Ms. Rosaline. Morgan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Morgan Grace. I'm 15 years old and I'm a freshman at Brookline High. Rosaline told me her story of how she immigrated to America and created her own business that ran successfully for over 20 years. When working on this project, I learned how to figure out a way to portray someone else's story in your vision and theirs. I also learned that immigration, building a name and life for yourself isn't easy or straightforward, but it is not impossible.
Rosaline, did you want to add anything before we see the video?
Well, I just want to say that it was such a pleasure working with Morgan. And Morgan, it's great to see you because the last time we were on Zoom, unfortunately, I don't think you showed your face. So it's just wonderful to see you. And I think she did a great job. I was a little bit nervous and, I'm not always that comfortable talking about my background. It's so diverse. But I think Morgan did a great job with the story, and she's very creative. So I wish you much success, in the future, and all the best to you. And hopefully we can stay in touch as well. That would be great.
Thank you. I would really appreciate that.
Okay, I will do that. I will check in with you every once in a while. And I noticed that your aunt, I believe Janet Hamdi, is also on Zoom. I was surprised to see her here. Janet and I are members of Bethel AME. That's how I met her years ago. And I was shocked to see her. And she texted me and said, boy, you're here. I'm in Florida. And, she's here because of Morgan and their relatives. And I think Morgan is her niece. So you'll be proud of what she's done with the story, Janet.
That's an amazing connection. Wow.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Small world. All right. Well, let's go and watch this video.
I come from a family of 7. There's 4 boys and 3 girls, and we sort of separated when we were younger because some went off to England. Like my mother took the girls with her, and then the boys stayed with uncles and aunts and stuff. And then eventually, as they got older, everyone left the island. Well, I'm from Grenada. I don't know if you know where that is, but that's in the West Indies part of the Caribbean islands.
Mm-hmm.
And I left there when I was very young, actually. My family left and immigrated to England. That's where I spent some years in England. Well, the reason I left Grenada, I had no choice. I was very young when I left Grenada. When my father died when I was very young, so my mother had 7 of us that she had to take care of. And so what happened is, like most immigrants, you sort of leave because you wanted better opportunity and for your kids and even for yourself, And so back then, when I left and my family left, that's when a lot of immigration was very, very heavy throughout the entire Caribbean region.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, I would say not most, I think everyone who left for the same reason, for a better education and better life for their family and themselves. The reason our entire family left England actually is because the truth is I did not like England. I thought it was too cold. I hated the weather. I didn't find the English people that friendly. And I was really very young, I didn't like it. My mother hated the cold. After a while, she just decided to go back home. And so that's why we sort of separated and ended up in Canada. When my mother decided to go back home, my older sister, who immigrated to Canada, then I followed her to Canada. My other sister went back to Grenada, where she still resides. She's been there for decades now. And as I got to Canada with my older sister, a couple of years later, we all kind of ended up in Canada, in Montreal. So we all sort of helped each other and sort of sponsored each other to come up to Canada. I think for me, growing up was a little bit confusing because I was still very young, and I don't think the support system was there. When you grow up in a family, you have that support that's there with you, that would guide you. But because my mother went back and I was still relatively young, even though I had older sisters, I think we all went through changes because of all the division that was taking place, and I didn't feel like I had a lot of support there. I felt like I had to sort of figure it out on my own, which I did. And I stayed in Canada. I finished my schooling in Canada, and in 1980 I moved here to Boston. So I moved here actually after I finished my education and finished my training in skin care, and then got a job here, and then I've been here ever since. But I lived in the South End for a little bit. Then after that, I moved to Brighton, lived in Brighton for a while, and then I ended up moving to Brookline. Once I started my business, I moved closer to my work, and I've been here ever since. After working for this establishment for 5 years, I decided to branch out of my own. I was the first African-American owned day spa in the Brookline area, was the first for over 25 years.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm no longer in the business because it was a long time being in the business, and I just felt I needed to take some time off, which I did, and never returned back to the business. So, but yeah, I was very successful for a couple of decades. Yeah. And I still have family members who have remained in Canada, and I enjoyed Montreal. I really did at the time, but I didn't see a lot of opportunities there for me in terms of what I wanted to do. And Canada is a wonderful country, don't get me wrong. I just had this vision of myself being in the States, living in the States, and becoming very successful in what I wanted to do. And I followed my vision, and I followed my goal, and it turned out well.
Can you see any difference in immigration now versus when you immigrated?
Oh God, yeah. I think it's much, much, much more difficult. And can I say something real quick about immigration? When I moved here from Canada, I really thought it would be so easy to get my green card, which is the first stage before you get citizenship, right? But I moved here because I had my citizenship for Canada. The company that hired me also went out of their way to help me get my green card, and it went on for years. It was just so difficult to get the green card. And I can, honestly say, and I'm proud to say it, the reason I ended up getting my green card was through a program during the Reagan administration. They came up with this program, and I can't think of the name of it now, but it really was to help immigrants who've been living in this country for a long, long time, contribute to the society, work here, pay taxes here, and you still didn't have, your green card, or you didn't have any papers or anything like that. And I applied for that, and that's how I ended up getting my green card. But they didn't just hand it to you. You had to go through all kind of different changes. You had to you had to show all kinds of, records, medical records, school records, work records, taxes. I mean, everything you had to present to them before they let you to stay in this country legally. It was a very long process, and it was also very stressful because during that time, even though I wasn't straight in this country, I went out and set up my own business, and I thought, well, what are they going to do? Ship me out? I'm not depending on the government. I'm independent. I'm making my own money. So yeah, and that's so it's not so easy.
All right. Beautiful. Wait, it's just like whether you immigrated 400 years ago, 200 years ago, 100, or, yesterday, it's like there's just these amazing stories to be told. And it's all about trying to do better and and get through that, whatever struggles. And the both of you, your stories, you didn't even have that much of a choice in coming. You kind of had to go along with your family. So it's interesting to hear that perspective too.
Rosaline, did any of your family come to the U.S. with you?
No, not really. I still have a number of family members in Canada, and I have a couple of cousins and nephews who were born in England that is still there. But my older brother and my older sister live in Grenada. They don't like North America. They'd rather be at home. And then I have a brother and a sister still in Canada. They've remained there. One lives in Montreal and one lives in Ontario. So we've sort of spread out, and I think this is typical of a lot of Caribbean families, or probably immigrants in general. You have some that have remained there and some who have left, and and so, my brother and my sisters always say, oh, you need to come back to Grenada. But, the story with Kapana, is it? I don't know if she can hear me. It really resonates because, I go home quite often now. I never did before because I was so consumed with my business. And I wouldn't go as often, but now I try to go every couple of years. I was supposed to go last year, but because of the pandemic, obviously, not traveling, but I'm hoping to go next year. And, but I don't see myself actually living there permanently because I left at such a young age. I don't have any friends there. I don't know hardly anybody. And the people I know is connection with my brother and my sister, and I don't have anything in common with them, So that's basically what's going on, yeah. But it's been a journey, it has its ups and downs like everything in life. But I think for the most part, I think the decisions that I made worked out well for me.
Definitely. You were very successful, it looks like.
Yeah.
Did the makeup for the Jeffersons and
Yeah, that's for sure. Hard work, but it paid off. Long hours and hard work, but it was worth it.
Great.
And can I ask a question of Morgan?
Go ahead.
Morgan, I was super impressed with all of the, it looks like you must have done quite a bit of research. Can you just talk about that? Because you threw up a lot of graphics with statistics and different things. Was that time consuming?
Yeah, the editing process really did take a long time, but it did pay off because I feel like kind of how I said in the beginning that my vision for the project and Rosaline's vision kind of came together. And when I was looking for pictures, I would spend a lot of time making sure that I chose the one that would work the best and come across the best. And when it came to the statistics and graphics, it was really just about what is going to make leave the best impact in people. So,
well, I think you did a fine job with that. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think she was great at it. I had no idea how this was going to turn out. And when I saw the video and all the images, I thought, oh my God, this is great, So good job, Morgan. I'm pretty proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good job, Morgan. And I like the posters you put out about immigration and how important it is, and the data from the Reagan administration, which I never knew anything about. So I learned a lot from what you showed.
Yeah, and I just remember the program. It was an amnesty program. That's what it was called during the Reagan administration. Yeah. And I think they're trying to do something like that now, the Democrats, with all the immigrants that are here, without any proper papers. I don't know.
The Dreamers, maybe.
Well, yeah, the Dreamers. Yeah, we'll see how successful that is. Yeah.
But I mean, it's important to talk about these things because from every generation, like Anne said, there are these dreamers and we handle them so differently, but how do we know what went before if we don't hear stories like this?
Right. And I don't know if it's easier now. I think it's probably more difficult now.
And it sounded pretty difficult for you. So
it was difficult. Yeah. But thank God I, persevered, and I had all my papers intact, because as I said in the video, it's not, just because they establish this program for people who've been here for a long period of time, you just couldn't say, oh, well, I'm an immigrant and I've been here for 10, 15 years, whatever. You really had to present a lot of stuff, they just didn't hand it to you. It wasn't that easy.
Yeah. And it's amazing how quickly generations forget, like your family, if your family's been here, maybe your grandparents or great grandparents were the immigrants, and then that generation hardly, the grandchildren or great grandchildren have really no idea of the story.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
And these are immigrants, this was just not Caribbean. This was immigrants from all over Europe as well. It was everybody, really. It's a very diverse group. Immigrants from different parts of the world.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. Oh, sorry. Did somebody want to say something?
Yes, this is Monica, Morgan's mom. And hi, thank you so much for working with her. She would come back and tell me, you kept her on her toes.
Really? I had no idea.
Yes. She wanted to do a very good job for you. So that was, it was very nice to just see how you took the time to really, help her to kind of perfect the story. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, this was years ago when I was a little younger. I did frequent your salon.
I had a feeling this was going to come up. I said, there's somebody there that's.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I did the same thing. I used to get gift certificates from my mother to go to Rosaline.
Oh
so.
my God. That must have been back in the 90s or 2000. Yeah. I hope you were satisfied with the service.
Oh, absolutely. I went more than once.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, super.
It's hilarious that people are getting together this way.
Isn't that something? Yeah. That's great. That's great.
With you.
Sorry?
I'm just so glad people are getting together with their experiences with you this way.
That's great. Yeah, super. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of connection between not only her aunt, but also her mom went to your salon.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. Yeah,
I mean, Brookline's not that big of a community, really. So.
Janet was a big surprise, though. I'm like, what is she doing here?
Well, I made the connection, but I wanted to surprise you too.
Okay. Well, Janet, we should chat. Give me a call. Well, thank you, Anne and Deidre, for the opportunity. This was truly a treat. I really enjoyed the project and enjoyed working with Morgan. So
great. Thank you so much. You've all been so wonderful to work with. It's just been a great project, and I'm just so excited this is going to be able to keep going forward and we can keep telling more stories. So thank you for being part of this process. And I'll be posting all of the videos up on YouTube, and then I'll be sure to send the links out to everyone so that you can share them with, anybody you want, all your friends and family, certainly. So.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anne.
Well,
thank you. Big round of applause to our favorite young filmmakers who are amazing young filmmakers. I mean, they're doing this through school on top of it. It's not just like a summer thing. So they've really had to put a lot of work in. And so thank you all so much for the dedication you have to this project.
Okay,
thank you.
Okay.
Great project.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
That was really good, guys.
Hey, Patrice.
Hi.
Hope you can join the project now.
Yeah. Thanks so much for everything, Deirdre and Anne and all the participants. It was really wonderful. We'll be seeing you at the center.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sherry.
Bye.
Great. Well, I hope you guys sleep well tonight, knowing that you've done such a wonderful job and made so many people happy and have these amazing memories and like not even memories, but you've basically turned a memory into a real thing. Like you're wizards now, and you've made this thing that everybody is going to get to enjoy forever.